Hopefully that'll be better. I do find it funny you mentioned that though, Bowman, because I actually took classes and lessons on physical health, and I'm actually really good at that. In fact, I've actually been a trainer for many other people on their physical health in the past. You lie, Bowman. How dare you lie to me. I'm also not on easy difficulty anymore. Not sure why that changed. Oh well. Whatever. I'll make it work. I always do. The coastal base. Damn it. So, let's go sabotage some stuff. By the way, favorite villain? Me.
Are you hero and obey? Hey! Are you hero and obey? Hey! Excellent choice. Are you hero and obey? Hey! Excellent choice. Yes! Excellent choice. Are you hero and obey? Hey!
I love the accents. No, Marquis. I actually don't have a favorite Warcraft author. Although I suppose the person who did the Arthas book would probably qualify. Favorite villains? I got a lot. But Kefka would definitely be up there. So would Emperor Palpatine. And, Arthas, if you count him, but honestly I don't. For various reasons. That's a nice card, Bragan. Let's see. I would argue he wasn't a villain there. A dead. Spoiler alert. That's the same reason I have to actually not put, excuse me, I have to not put, Arthas in my favorite villains. Bret Hart. Arthas would be one of my favorite heroes, honestly. And yes, Jim Raynor is up there too. Although Jim Raynor is awesome. Well, Bladestorm isn't up yet. So it's time to be reckless. Whatever, just die. It's quicker. That's a good one. Arcturus Minsk. Definitely one of my favorite villains. Yes, Desert Star it is. Are you talking about Kerrigan or the Queen of Blades, Tophius? And if you don't understand the difference, go watch my lore stream. Excuse me. There we go. Ah, so you do understand the difference. Excellent. Yeah, I actually think Kerrigan is actually a really awesome, well-done, interesting character. Not only Zed, I hate to tell you this, but not only did I do a lore stream of Wings of Liberty, I did a lore stream of Heart of the Swarm too. All of StarCraft 2, in other words, if you're paying attention. It was actually really awesome and a lot of fun. Damn it, stop frickin' attacking the one guy I don't want you to attack. God damn it. Oh, whatever. Come on. I'm not good at remembering when people join me. I'm just good at remembering who has been in my stream before. This time you're gonna die, maybe. Fun fact, this is also one of the first RTS games to experiment with the idea of critical hits. With the guy you're looking at right now, the Blade Master. It was actually one of his abilities. Critical hit. Yeah, this isn't on easy, Adam. I'm actually not sure how to turn this on to easy, because it kind of should be. But it isn't, obviously. No. Well, whatever. Die again. Actually, I might be able to work this one out. Whatcha? Nope, that's not gonna make it. Oh, it did! I'm awesome. Yes. Now to go die, because I have no means of healing. Die! Go and die. How long does that last for this one? For a full minute. That might be long enough. Fun fact, Windwalk, if you're playing a competitive gameplay with Warcraft 3, is really strong if you know what you're doing with it. Speaking of which, clunk, and we're dead. But we accepted that loss to get rid of that tower. Whoop. There we go. So, fun fact, a lot of people said the original mission, the first one, was too easy. And so, a lot of people insisted that they up the difficulty on this one, because the idea was you can resurrect from death, again, just like WoW, later on. In my personal opinion, they kind of went a little bit too difficult with the difficulty in this one, because this one is much, much more difficult than the first or the second, or the third, excuse me, missions. Much more difficult. But just my opinion, just my take on things. I do kind of wonder why they leave these explosive all around their towers. It seems kind of unusual when you think about it. Actually, I don't want to get that just yet. La dum dum dum, killing all the humans, making them all pay. Boo ba doo ba doo 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 up. Oh, let's kill this guy real quick. Yeah, Nutherzy. Actually, that made a lot of sense. And I talked about that during my video. Go watch my video. No, I'm kidding. I'll talk about it. In summary, Zeratul kind of let her attack him. It actually basically goaded him into attacking her, would actually be a better way to put it. But the long and the short of it is, he let her do so because he knew that I'm under attack by a guy, and that's terrible. And that she really needed to vent off some steam. And she, he also knew that he was one of the only people who could actually stand there toe-to-toe and take that kind of a beating from her. Which is why he let her beat on him for such a while. I mean, Zeratul was hurting from the loss of Raynor and the situation, too. That's the synopsis. I mean, I could go into further detail, but I don't really see a need. Long story short, Blade Storm. It's why wouldn't she is actually my answer to you, Nethrasium. For example, Kerrigan is well aware... No, it wasn't instinct. Kerrigan is well aware of the fact that very, very few people know that there is a difference between Kerrigan and the Queen of Blades. So, Zeratul shows up out of nowhere, and she, if you'll notice, if you pay attention to this scene, she doesn't attack him outright. First she talks to him, what are you here, what are you doing, why are you coming after this, blah, 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 blah. Zeratul intentionally says nothing, provoking her and goading her, and so Kerrigan basically had no choice, for all intents and purposes, but to react in a hostile manner, assuming that he was there to kill her, because that was the logical assumption for someone like him to be there. Again, not knowing that, she was different, if you follow where I'm going with this. Cutscene. Fuck off.
Jaina Proudmoore, I am Rexar. I bear a message from War Chief Thrall, the same War Chief you tried to kill. He is curious as to why your warriors encroach on our lands and threaten us with war.
What are you talking about? I do not seek Thrall's death, nor do I have any intention of betraying the pact we made.
Perhaps. But the fact remains that your ships and your warriors have been raiding our encampments on the mainland. I had to bypass a large encampment just to reach you.
I assure you, I ordered no such attacks. Lead me to these troops, Rexar. I want to see them for myself. Rexar, those don't look like humans to me.
Those snake creatures.
Naga!
They must have destroyed the camp and slaughtered your brethren.
And yes, that's he is an orc ogre, a Machnathal. And now we have Jaina. Hi, Jaina. And random drops. Oh yeah, I actually want to get the Talisman Invasion on him. We'll go ahead and get rid of this, finally, for the Talisman. Kill the Naga, kill the Naga.
I got the righteous groove.
Shh, I'm trying to think here.
She has the same
What's the plan?
things from back in Warcraft 3.
Shh, I'm trying to think here. I can help. I'm no warrior.
See?
All I ever wanted was to study.
Unleash my strength.
Yeah, Jaina, I do genuinely feel very bad for. Despite my own somewhat joking down-talking of her in Pandaria, I have to admit, I fully empathize and sympathize with her, because she has just been through hell and back more than once, And it's really gotta suck being her, just to put it bluntly. Jaina is the Shion of Warcraft, put into such terms. Revenge for what, Bowman? First thing they do is Cyclone Misha. Oh, that sucks, Topaz. I do hope it goes well for you. And if it doesn't, well, will. It will. How am I kidding? Yeah, Misha is as well. I knew that. Of course, so is Rexar. He's the hunter guy. Okay, what am I doing here? Killing Naga. Okay, let's just go this way, I guess. So, let's talk about lore for a bit, shall we? I know, crazy thought. First and foremost, what are the Naga? Now, this is an interesting question because the obvious answer isn't the full answer, if you know what I mean. In other words, there's more to it than just, you know, duh. Shut up, Backbird. The Naga are all of the night elves who are almost entirely highborn, but not all of them, who were left behind at the Well of Eternity when the Well of Eternity was crushed and everything went to hell and was sunk to the depths of the oceans, right? Now, that's the obvious part. We knew that. We've known that since Frozen Throne. Here's where it gets more interesting. We don't actually know for 100%, but given what we do know about the old gods, it is actually very likely, all things considered... Damn it, I went the wrong way. Very likely, all things considered, that the actual place they were shook down to is in fact... oh shoot, let me actually get the specific name for you. Give me just a moment. This won't take me long. Ny'alotha. Told you it wouldn't take me long. The Ny'alotha is one of the cities of the old gods, and it's argued to be not only one of the only remaining old god structures or cities that is still standing, other than, of course, Ankh-Kiraj, but it's also the original one, the one where they used to rule from, and it's very likely that several of the old gods, Unzoth in particular, is actually imprisoned there. Thus, it is very, very, very likely that, all things considered, what actually happened was the High Elves and the Night Elves, well, they weren't actually Night Elves yet, the Elves, because they were just elves at this point in time, and Ashara are smashed down to the bottom of the ocean and made a deal with Unzoth. Now, here's where things get interesting, because we don't actually know if it was a deal, or if it was forced on them, or if they were cursed with it, or if they forced it from Unzoth, because we also know that Unzoth wasn't really all that active at this point in time. Unzoth didn't actually start becoming active until a lot more recently. So, it is very likely that of these options, they either were cursed by the mere presence of Unzoth, or actually, knowing Ashara and knowing her psychotic... See you around, Bowman, and hello, Jopa. Knowing her psychotic level of evil and arrogance, that she actually tried to extract a way to survive on the bottom of the ocean from Unzoth. And that is where the Curse of the Naga actually came from. Now, the other twist to this is we know for a fact that Ashara survived the Sundering, and we also know for a fact that a huge amount of elves also got, were also down there, were converted into the Naga. As I mentioned before, the Naga we see are just the primary Naga, the military forces that venture out, and occasionally the religious forces. There are tons upon tons of other Naga that were also converted from the original elves. Why were they converted? Why did this happen to them? Stuff like that. The bottom line I'm trying to reach here is, for about 10 millennia, give or take, the Naga have done nothing. Why? See, here's the fact that not many people are aware of. The reason the Naga became present and started acting on the surface again is because Illidan decided to call in some favors for the Naga, who still actually, he still had some pull with, to put it simply. He still had some weight with them, and so he was able to actually call upon them and say, you know, I request your assistance here on the surface world for great demonic power, blah blah blah. And so that's what brought the Naga to the surface for the first time in 10 millennia. There's a pet theory going around that the Naga have actually been basically in stasis this entire time. Here's how I picture things going. This is theory crafting, pure theory crafting. But based on the information we have, I personally think that what happened is Ashara and the rest were yanked down to the bottom, and this is literally a seconds matter type of moment. You know, they didn't have time to deliberate or whatnot. They were just in the moment. Ashara sees Unzoth asleep and says, yes, this great source of power, which she's already sensed because she was already aware of the old gods because, you know, they were involved in the War of the Ancients significantly. She says, yes, this great source of power will suffice for our needs greatly, and uses her incredibly powerful magic, because Ashara was a very powerful mage, in order to pull the strength and the energy from Unzoth. Now, I don't think she did it in order to turn themselves into Naga, or to keep themselves in the sea. I think she did it in order to draw power from him, in order to immediately go right back up and get her revenge on everyone. But that didn't happen, obviously, because the Naga slept for 10 millennia doing nothing. I think the Naga were cursed with the same sleep that Unzoth was. I think that because Illidan woke up the Naga, Unzoth too was also awoken as a resultant. Because from this point out, let's just say that the old gods are going to have a lot more of an influence, and Unzoth in particular is going to have a lot more influence on the interactions of everybody and what's going to be going on in the story. Just my theory. And I'm curious what you guys think, but, you know, it does, in my opinion, fit a lot of the holes, and fit a lot of the concepts in the plot thus far. So, just curious. Wait, yeah. Anyways, hi Bandit, by the way. Also, if the Naga were in stasis, it's arguable that they either didn't or don't reproduce. So, shrug. I don't see a citation here for why they were forced to stay underwater for 10 millennia. It even mentions their enforced banishment to the sea, but there's no citation, so I don't know what that's coming from. Could be theory crafting like I have. Meh, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and stand with my overall theory. I could see that, Marquis. It certainly wouldn't surprise me. Unzoth, of all the old gods, is by far the most conniving and the most manipulative, so I could see that. Why are you throwing protein at me, Bragwin? Are you trying to hint at something? Oh, yeah, sure, Rigel. Give me just a moment. Let me add you to the raffle list. I have, like, only 5 people who want in the raffle. Does nobody want Bastion? It's okay if you don't. Anyways, Illidan still had a degree of influence, political pull, from what I understand, with several of the Naga. And of course, because Illidan was, let us not forget, at this particular point in time, a half-demon, that by itself would get the interest of the Naga. Hell, that's practically how Lady Vosh herself convinces Kael'thas to go ahead and join the crew, so to speak. Oh yeah, sure thing, Taphius. Taphius has been added. Taphius. You're plenty noticeable, Taphius. That's why I say, make sure you get an audible thing from me. Hey, oh man. What is up? TFE crew representing. Bastion is a video game. It's a good video game. I highly recommend it. Yay, cookies! Nom, 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 nom. I should finish my meal, because I am very hungry. Oh, you got it, old man. Hang on. There we go. Added to the list. No, less Exile, although that does come up soonish. God, these things hurt. Damn it, Tappius. Don't let cookies go to waste. That's just terrible. Exactly, it did. Anyways. One other thing that is actually worth considering when it comes to the Naga, excuse me, is, for lack of a better way to put it, how divided the Naga really are. Obviously all the Naga, at least tangentially, owe loyalty to Ashara, but it's shown that the Naga can both ignore or at least pretend that that isn't a priority, given the circumstances. Lady Vosh herself is a pretty good example of that. She was actually pretty loyal to Illidan. It's a shame they didn't really flesh that out in BC. But they did mention a significant amount of her loyalty to Illidan, both in Warcraft 3 proper, and they mentioned it, however briefly, in Burning Crusade. So I personally get the very distinct impression that not all of the Naga are actually particularly interested in their pact with N'Zoth, willing or otherwise. I mean, it almost doesn't matter if you follow me. Muffins should not go stale. I'm just saying. Now here's another interesting question, if you don't mind my asking. How many of you out there genuinely think Naga should be... Yeah, thank you, Bragman. Thank you, that is an excellent way to put it. I'm sure everyone in the Naga, you know, owes fealty to Ashara. There should be a cutscene, like, really soon here, actually. I'm, like, almost there. Give me just a minute here. These things are dying too slowly. Do I have to actually start using abilities? God damn it. I hate having to use abilities. Making me hit buttons. It's terrible. Anyways. How many of you out there genuinely think that Naga should be playable in World of Warcraft? Now, I am one of those who does. I'll just go ahead and say that outright. This is WoW 1.0. Zedslayer, and that's not really a joke. Oh god, another one? Frickin' Naga. Probably both factions, yeah. I could see that happening very easily. Storm, Earth, and Fire. Yeah, we'll just stick with that. Do this. Pull this. Pull this. Stop dying, you cowards, and he's dead. Now the problem is, if I could be completely blunt, I think we need a third faction in WoW. Now, I've been saying that for a while, admittedly, But to be blunt, we are at the point in time in the story where that makes the most sense, more than it ever has prior to now. We really, really, really are at a good time for the Naga to be a playable race. We really, really are at, I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. We're really, really at a good point where we need a third faction, in my opinion.
You bit
God damn it.
tricksy.
Yeah, whatever. Cutscene.
We're too late. The serpents already killed them all.
Wait, this one's still alive.
Mistress Jaina, we found you at last. The Admiral will be overjoyed.
Is it even possible? We've got to get back to Theramore immediately.
But what?
Just trust me, Rexar. I'll explain when we get there.
No, Sean, I mean a truly neutral faction, which I've been referring to mentally as the Army of Light. And so,
I got the righteous groove.
and a good example of this, of what I'm talking about, by the way,
Is trouble brewing?
is, for example,
I'll put it on your tab.
hang on, what's this? Yeah, that's a good one. We'll keep that. And we'll get
Have
rid of that
one
one.
on the house.
And we'll get that one instead.
I'm trying to think here.
Put simply,
My quarry nears.
you go up here.
I wander alone.
Don't worry. Be happy.
A lot of the races that are on one side or the other are not there for lore reasons, is what I'm trying to get across. A lot of the races are there for mechanical reasons, for gameplay reasons, for reasons of balance. The Night Elves are a good example of this. The Night Elves in the original draft were actually supposed to join the Horde, which, if you'll forgive me for being blunt, makes a lot more sense to me. But they needed to, based on the races they had already set up that were definitely in the Horde, which included the Forsaken, who definitely couldn't join the Alliance, the Taurens, the Orcs, and the Trolls, they felt like they didn't have a choice, so the Night Elves had to go to the Alliance. And there's a lot of decisions that were like that. If you look back at it, there's basically been no, not even a retcon in some cases, for explanation of why several of the races are on the sides that they are. Would be awesome, wouldn't it, Netherzeum?
Unleash my strength.
Yes, that one, Marquis. Exactly. Although I still think Illidan would make a better leader, but someone in my stream gave me a counter-argument, or a counter-idea that I actually love. Picture Illidan and Anduin jointly ruling. Anduin is the diplomat and the thinker. He is very smart. He has demonstrated on many cases where he is very intelligent and he knows how to think ahead. He knows how to put things together like that. He knows how to really put the pieces together and really makes for a good leader in that sense. Illidan is very much a doer, very much someone who is going to go out and makes things happen, very much someone who is completely unafraid to take burdens onto himself and to delegate them to others. Both of these people have the makings of a great leader. Why not have them jointly run the Army of Light? Just my thoughts. I'm gonna shut up because this is a cool cutscene.
Hopefully we've made it in time. You've got to get word back to Thrall that
I don't understand. What's this all about?
those Marines... I know who they are, Rexar. They're... It's too late. He's here.
Jaina, bless the stars I found you at last. When I heard that Lorerun fell, I despaired. But I knew you'd find a way to escape. What is this? An ogre?
Father, wait.
Father.
The Horde is no longer our enemy. The Orcs have their own kingdom now.
You have always been naive, my daughter. You aren't old enough to remember what these monsters did to our homeland. The Orcs and their kin cannot be trusted. They must be exterminated like the mongrels they are.
I won't let you do it, Father. You don't understand.
I understand more than you suspect, my dear. Perhaps in time you will too. Seize them all!
So, time to run.
My quarry nears.
Nah, I'm kidding. We're gonna kill the hell out of them.
Our paths converge.
We're actually probably gonna die in the
Get
process.
out of here and warn
But
Thrall
hey,
about
why not,
Admiral
right?
Proudmoore. There are a number of small ships in the harbor. If I can commandeer one, I should be able to reach the open seas unnoticed. I'm actually
I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot.
I win. Sorry. I I just felt like winning that battle. It's like, so anyways,
I'm ready to track.
I could see that, Marquis, but I would also like the idea of Anduin teaching Illidan a bit about being more patient, being more of a thinker. You know, I think the two could learn a lot from each other. Anyways, where was I? Illidan is perfect. No. Illidan was completely mishandled in Burning Crusade. Anduin's awesome. Are you kidding me? Seriously, Anduin equals awesome. Not even kidding about that. Shut up, Etheru. Anduin is Varian's son, to simplify the answer to that. Anyways, so, yeah, interesting thing about Proudmoore there. Proudmoore is very much someone who is basically trapped in the past, and as much as he's, well, to put it as bluntly as I can, kind of dim and refusing to look past, everything he's been through, it's not actually hard to understand when you really think about it. He has been through a lot. He has been through so much, and so much horrible things. It's not really that much of a stretch to say that he has lost so much that he can no longer accept the idea of peace with these people. Oh, this is a bad one. I've got really... We'll go ahead and drop that one and get that instead. What? I don't have enough gold? Seriously? Oh my god, hang on. Now I have enough gold. There we go. See you soon, Rondo, hopefully. But the point I'm trying to get across here is that... Yeah, exactly, Sean. Thank you for the Star Trek reference to make my point there. Whoop.
This should do nicely. Now all I have to worry about are the harbor gates. Proudmoore's Marines have closed the harbor gates. I'll need to bust them open before I can escape. If I can make it to the open seas, I should have no problem reaching the mainland.
Now, the difference between Proudmoore and Kirk, if you'll forgive me for being blunt, Kirk is awesome and willing to look past his prejudices, to put it as bluntly as I can. He understands that they are a prejudice. He understands that it's a weakness, and he has, in many occasions, tried to overcome that problem. Proudmoore has an epic sword. Thank you, Nethrazim. Excellent way to summarize that. So, Proudmoore never once even makes the possibility of considering the idea of peace with them. He just flat out says, no, I have decided, decision made, moving on. That is the key difference between the two. I think that both Kirk and Proudmoore started in the same place. But the reality of the situation is that Kirk was willing to try and move past that place. Proudmoore was not. I'm not trying to say one is better than the other per se. Again, I do actually, as weird as this sounds, I kind of get where Proudmoore's coming from. It's kind of flushed over because not many people talk about how absolutely horrifyingly terrible the demonic horde was, but the mere fact that it's called the demonic horde should probably be a pretty good be a pretty good guess, all things considered, you know? The demonic horde was messed up and did a lot of very, very terrible things. Hell, even Sarfang talks about that. I mean, you know? So, it is, when you go through something that traumatic, that horrifying, an enemy that is so determined to crush you and all that you are with no mercy, killing your women and your children and you and your men just as horribly as everything else. Yeah, that's kind of a hard thing to overcome. And I don't actually forgive, you know, I don't say he's stupid. That's what I'm trying to get to with all this. I know a lot of people who've played this or read about it or, you know in part about it. And they basically say, well, Proudmoore's just an idiot. I disagree. I think Proudmoore just couldn't get past it, the past, basically. I don't think he could overcome what he went through. And it's hard to blame him for that. And I feel so kind of bad for him, because when we kill him, it's probably the first time he's had peace in his whole life ever since the war. You know? Damn it, frickin' resurrecting mages. Die. Nah. Let's get some mana back really quick. Good question, Nethrazim. We will know the full details of that in Legacy in the Void, but I do have a few guesses on the matter. Number one, Zeratul probably exiled himself, at least initially. But then when he found out the truth about Samir Duran, I can't even think of his other name, it is very likely that he went back to the Protoss to be like, oh my god! And the Protoss, let's be honest with ourselves, are not the most understanding of people. They're very, if you'll forgive me for the phrase, Tyrande in terms of their diplomacy. So, Nurad, that was his name. No, Narud, excuse me, Narud. Anyways, they're very Tyrande in their outlook, so it wouldn't surprise me that the fact that he killed Rashagal and Aldaris in such short order of each other, or at least led to their deaths, and led to so much death and devastation because of his mistakes, that the Protoss would basically say, you suck, go away. The Protoss are not the most forgiving type. And to really explain what I mean by that, one of the best Protoss we see, not the best, but one of the best Protoss we see, whose name I suddenly can't think of, it's the woman, Selenis, or Selendis, I can't remember which, in Wings of Liberty. That was a pretty good example of a fairly typical Protoss. Even she was willing to let her people die and to kill their people because of the way her mindset works, because of the way her cultural mindset works. And I say that to really get across the point that she had no hatred of Raynor. She had no evil intent within her. She was not like, oh, these people must die. It was just the way a Protoss thinks. And so that's from someone who's a decent person. And in fact, I think that was most exemplified when you beat her. Her response to that was basically, you defeated me, congratulations. And and she parts amicably, because that's the Protoss way. And yeah, she does call him friend Raynor. And Raynor even, treats her with the sort of respect he knows they appreciate and enjoy, and Raynor can do that sort of thing. So, the bottom line here is, it doesn't surprise me the idea that the Protoss have kind of gotten bad about everything. Because there is one other thing to be keeping in mind, actually, two other things. Thing number one, we know there are Protoss who are hideously evil. We see them in Wings of Liberty, remember? We also see them in Heart of the Swarm, the ones who follow Amon. The idea that there is infighting within the Protoss is not a new idea. The Protoss have been infighting since as long as we've known about them. Don't forget, that's what actually caused the Xel'Naga to abandon the Protoss, was the level of Protoss infighting, remember? I mean, it was a little more complicated by that. By the way, hi Reaper. Shoutouts. But that was what actually caused them to leave. I mean, my point I'm trying to get across here is that the idea that they're infighting does not strike me as even remotely out of bound or anything like that. Doesn't even begin to cross my mind as unwarranted. So, the bottom line here is that I have a feeling that the Protoss we're going to basically be seeing two types of thing in Legacy of the Void. Protoss factions who genuinely believe they're doing the right thing and that they need to convince the others to do so, and as we already mentioned, Protoss are basically zealots to begin with. Okay, this is silly. Die. Die. F. And then we're going to have Protoss zealots who are zealots, as I would define the term, like Nova. We talked about this during the lore run. Zealots like Nova who are going to be completely over the top, you know, into the cause, and as a result of that are going to just ludicrously go overboard and say, you know, this is the one true way, and this is the only way at all. Opposers to the one true doctrine must die. And, of course, finally, the third faction will be the people we're playing as the player characters, otherwise known as the Protoss with a brain. Okay. We'll see, Nethrezim. I get where you're going with that, and I don't have the actual answers, I just have theories for you. But I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of infighting from a lot of Protoss, good and bad, and it's going to be our job. Oh, by the way, I almost guarantee you will be playing as Artanis. Almost guaranteed. Zeratul might die. I hope he doesn't. I really like Zeratul. That would be like killing off Raynor. Actually, no, it wouldn't, because Raynor's Raynor. Hell yeah! But seriously, though, it would be bad. I would not like that. This is bad. We're gonna have to pay attention a bit here. Okay, ignore these. Kill them. And that our job as the Protoss with brains, who can focus on the long-term problem, will be in charge of fixing the rest of the Protoss. You say that, Nethrezim. We're also not discounting politics in all this. I know, the Conclave is dead. But you can't tell me that the mindset that birthed the Conclave to begin with is gone. No, Gimmers. In StarCraft 1, the player character of the first Terran campaign was Matt Horner. The player character of the Cerebrate campaign, the Cerebrate in both the Zerg campaigns of StarCraft and Brugor were the same Cerebrate, who was then killed by Kerrigan in her when she got rid of Cerebrates as a thing. The Protoss commander in StarCraft was Artanis, and then in Brood War, the Protoss commander is this is only a theory, but we most likely believe it's actually Selendis was the player you were playing as in the Protoss Brood War campaign. The nameless captain of the directorate was the guy in the human campaign. Doesn't really matter when it comes down to it. And same Cerebrate, like I mentioned in that thing. So, any questions? Dismissed. Now, oh, did he? That's actually funny. I didn't know that. Actually, I think I did know that. That was in the book, wasn't it? Or one of the books. Anyways. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, Nethrezim. I'll have to read up on that at some point. I gotta be honest, as much as I look at the books just for additional story, the StarCraft books have never actually interested me that much, just to put it as bluntly as I can. Tosh. Easy answer. Tosh. Tosh for life, yo. Tosh is crazy. Nova is insane. Marquis, unfortunately, I don't think it's a good chance that we'll ever see Arthas's spirit or whatever. I say that's unfortunate because here's the reality of the situation. Based on the way WoW works and Death works and all that fun stuff, put simply, you could bring Arthas back. You could do it and make it make sense. The catch is it would have to be someone powerful to bring back a soul that powerful who has done that much evil, and it would probably involve some kind of sacrifice. And therein lies the ultimate irony of that situation. Arthas, who died a hero, I remind you, how many people knew he was a hero? How many people knew he was a good guy? How many people knew that Arthas was not the Lich King, you know? And therefore, if you understand my question, how many people would be motivated to actually save Arthas? Yeah, exactly, Taphius. It's another Queen of Blades situation. Now, it's interesting you point that out, Ethereal, because Jaina is one of the only people who actually, in my opinion, was aware that Arthas was actually Arthas at the end. And my answer for that is if you complete the Frostborn chain and get the items to give to all the people, most of them just talk horribly about, you know, about the fact that, you know, everything he went through and how they'll try to remember him as he was. Jaina is the one who says, you know what, I'm just going to quote it here. Give me just a moment. What was that item called? No, wrong one. Because the way she says it really gets the point across. Give me just a moment, guys. Whoop, whoop. Come on, give me the quote. Give me the quote, or I'll kill you. It's fully voice acted and everything. Damn it, it's not going to give me the actual quote. That sucks. Oh, here it is. He kept this all the time. He kept this. All this time he kept it. I knew. I sensed a part of him that was still alive, still trapped, still struggling. Oh, Arthas. I was hoping perhaps he might someday remember what he once was, and by the light may he at last find rest, free from the icy grip of that terrible blade. Jaina is the only one who reacts in any way, shape, or form to the idea that he might have actually not been a horrible, horrible person. There's your quote, Bandit. I never fail. By the way, good night, Spirit. Have a good one. It's probably too late, but peace! Anyways, Marquis, we know for a fact that Arthas went to the dark. Sylvanas met him in the dark. But yeah, Jaina would be powerful enough. Jaina would have the capacity and the interest and the motivation. But here's an interesting question for you. And this may sound weird, but what would Arthas think of Jaina now? Now, Jaina hasn't done anything horrifically terribly evil, don't mistake me. But Jaina has changed as a person significantly from when he, you know, died. Hell, from when he was actually active on the world. So, it is an interesting question to me to ponder what exactly the two's relationship would be, if any. And I'm not talking about a romantic relationship. I mean, you know, what kind of friends would be, how close they would be, that kind of thing. The fact that I'm dropping frames, even though I lowered my quality, just to specifically avoid that. They've got to be downloading something. Ooh, do I want that? Yes, I do. See, Raskor? That's an interesting thing, because I actually tend to agree. I think that's the way they would go with that. I think that of all the things that could happen, Arthas would understand. And here's the best part. And Marquis just said it too. Arthas would explain why that's the incorrect path. Arthas would know better than anybody what that path leads to. And Arthas would be the way by which Jaina could be redeemed, could come back. I keep saying redeemed like she's some horrible person, but you get the point, right? Arthas would be the only one who would actually understand and care about Jaina enough in order to bring her back from the depths. Not necessarily as a lover or anything like that. That's not necessary. Just as someone who's been there, and someone who cares about her, and someone she'll listen to. God damn, I'm still dropping frames. Oh, this is pissing me off. Whatever. Nothing I can do about it. Nothing I can do about it. Literally nothing. I've lowered the quality as far as I'm willing to. Now, Zed, I unfortunately don't control Blizzard yet. But, I tell you what, that probably is actually how I'm going to have the Imperium storyline go. Am I done? Can I actually leave finally? Sorry, I shouldn't say that. This is a fun mission. It's an interesting take on a dungeon crawl mission. Warcraft, Blizzard has done dungeon missions since forever, since Warcraft 1, actually. I'm still dropping frames. God, that's irritating. Whatever. It is called the Imperium because it is called the Empire. I'm still dropping frames. Like, actively, right now. I'm not even doing anything. Here, look. I'm just sitting here, doing nothing, and I'm dropping frames. That might be Twitch. That might be Twitch. Because, holy hell, I should not be dropping frames sitting here doing nothing. God damn, I'm down to like 600 Ks. This is ridiculous. I may have to... Oh, whatever. I'm only going to be streaming for a little bit longer tonight anyways, because it's late and I'm tired. By the way, tomorrow I will be starting the stream up, you know, nice and early. I don't know how early. But I definitely want to at least finish this thing before I go do that. And finish my vegetables. Jaina's hair was severely affected and impacted by the detonation of the Theramore bomb. You lie, Marquis. No, I spit on you. Spit, spit, spit. Actually, what are you talking about that I'm lying? Rough estimate, Gimmers? 10 hours from now. Just off the top of my head. Actually, Taphius, it was literally a magic bomb, yes. It was something they recovered from the Blue Dragon flight in Northrend. I'm sorry, Janine. I don't mean to. Up there. There we go. Well, it's funny you say that, Taphius, because literally nobody was okay with that bomb being dropped, with the possible exception of Sylvanas. Oh yeah, killed Ronan too. No, I didn't mind that, because I never liked Ronan. But, well, there were a few people upset by that. In character, I mean, in lore, in universe. Is this the last one? Yeah, it's the last one. Let's do it! Final battle! Kill all the guys. Oh wow, that's a weird problem to have. Yeah, I admit killing Ronan off like that was kind of a blah way to kill the character. But the vindictive part of me, which I want to stress is not the way I actually feel, but the vindictive part of me is kind of glad Ronan went that way. Number one, he did die as a quote-unquote hero, because as Marquis just pointed out, that explosion should have been much worse. Number two, Ronan was often something of a Mary Sue character in his own books, and I never actually liked that. It kind of bothered me, to be honest with you. Having him be killed off kind of anticlimactically like that was almost satisfying in its own little horrible way. Exactly, Holy Smite. But I admit, you know, like I just said, that's the vindictive part of me, not the real part of me. The real part of me thinks it was kind of a bleh way to go. And it's unfortunate, the way it ended up going. I would have preferred something better, but at least they did have him die a hero. That's always nice. Good way to go out, right? I'm about to die. I'm actually dead. I might as well get my boat back down here so I can pick myself up here. Hey, Ojunix. What's up? You're doomed, just so you know. That's the wrong kind of fountain. Fun fact, another thing they did with Frozen Throne in particular, not just this campaign, not just the Orc campaign, the Foundation of Orgrimmar, but with the entirety of Frozen Throne, is they started practicing for boss fights. It was a sort of an interesting question from a mechanical perspective, because the people who worked at Blizzard had never made something like a boss before. And so they were debating, okay, how do we make a boss character, and how do we make it fun and interesting? You know what I mean? That may sound like a strange problem to have, but it was a genuine problem at the time, because they'd never done anything like that before. All they'd done at that point was, you know, Diablo, and Diablo 2 and that kind of thing. And Diablo 2, I gotta be blunt, does not have interesting boss fights. It's not something that they're particularly good at. No offense to the game. Fun game. But, yeah. Okay, I'm tired of you. Is Garrosh redeemable? Now, that's a difficult question to answer. Because the simple reality of the situation is, I hate the character so much that I know my answer is going to be prejudiced. But even ignoring my prejudice on the matter, even ignoring the fact that I hate Garrosh, if I take myself out of it for a moment and actually think about it, I'm still inclined to say no. I'm still inclined to say, yeah, no, he is not redeemable. Meh. I disagree completely. I think Grom was infinitely better than Garrosh, and I could give you several reasons why. Reason 1. Grom had redeeming qualities. Garrosh has none. Reason 2. Grom actively tried to be a better person. In fact, it was one of his striving... hell, I talked about this extensively during my Warcraft 3 run. Grom's biggest thing was he very much wanted... He was such a brutal, bloodthirsty, horrible person at his core, and again, willingly drank the blood, but he was constantly fighting that. That matters to me. Grom, even before the demons came back, was struggling to be a better person. Grom wanted to be a better person. Garrosh has no interest in being a better person. Garrosh embraces everything Grom rejected. That is why Grom was better than Garrosh. In a nutshell, put simply, Garrosh only has the things that others give unto him. Seriously, I've actually talked about this before, forgive me for the repetition, but the full reality of the situation is Garrosh... Okay, someone once asked me, how do you reconcile Garrosh actually having occasional moments of honor and whatnot? That's actually very easy for me to do, because all Garrosh does is apes that which others have told him. Garrosh, the reason I call him a coward, the reason I call him a worthless wretch, is not just because of bile or anger or hatred or anything like that, but because of the fact that Garrosh has no core. Garrosh doesn't actually know who or what he is. All Garrosh knows... I'm not going to answer you, Ojunix, ever. I'm just going to let you be driven mad by it. All Garrosh knows is what he is told. Good example of that. Garrosh clings to the ideal of being, you know, the true orc. But Garrosh actually doesn't know what a true orc is. Garrosh says, you know, we must, you only do things that are honorable because that is what, you know, Sarfang told me, and that is what I've been told, and blah blah blah. But he actually knows nothing about actually being that honorable. You get where I'm going with this in general, at least I assume. Everything he did that could be considered a good thing was only done because someone else told him this is a good thing. Garrosh never decided for himself, this is what I think to be good, this is what I think to be bad. Garrosh only ever went along aping what other people told him to do. And the best and most powerful example of that is what everybody in the chat just said, that he was always trying to live up to the example of his father, and failing. That is why Garrosh is irredeemable. Even after thinking about it, even however much I hate the character, I think Garrosh is irredeemable. And as weird as this sounds, I still like that fact. I still think that's a good thing. I still think it's a good thing that he is irredeemable. I mean that sincerely. I don't think he should be redeemed. I think it would cheapen so much of what they did with the character. A villain who was not corrupted by anything, who was not infused by anything, who was just a villain. It's something Warcraft sorely needed. Now that I would love to see, Ojunix. Oh my god. Oh my god, there we go. Okay. Hey, an orb of fire, which I have no use for. I should probably actually get some mana back. Yeah, screw it. Charge! We gotta kill that Archmage now. And that Paladin. Frickin' Paladin. There we go. And we'll make him pop his invuln, and then we'll kill you. My son. Hang on, gotta do the Grom voice. My son, you are a huge weenie. It would actually be very satisfying for Garrosh to be told just how terrible a person he is by Grom. I mean, think about this, the beautiful way that works, and the pseudo... It's not even irony, it's just... That's just a spit in the face. That is such a spit in the face. Swear to me. Oh, I'm sorry. Most adorable Pokemon? Oh, that's a tough one. There's a mouse Pokemon that they introduced in Black and White. Anybody know the name of it? I bet nobody does. No, nobody is as much of a geek as I am. Hang on, this is gonna bother me now. I bet I can find it quickly though, because I'm also a total loser. I'm a loser. Mincino. There you go. There's my answer. And the Paladin's dead. What's behind here? Ojunix, they actually have a team working on their own, actively, on the player models as we speak. It is a larger job than it probably looks like, and that's why they're still working on it, and probably will be for a while. There's not even a guarantee it'll be in the next expansion, but personally, if I were to put money on it, I'd say, yeah, it's going to be in the next expansion. It will not be in 5.5, I guarantee it. I told you, Rondo. Don't ever question my business again. Liberated, all I gotta say about that is two things. One,
Flush them out.
and two,
I got the righteous groove.
Any questions? No, I do have something real to say about that. I'm just going to wait till this cutscene is over.
I'm glad you escaped, Rexar. And don't worry, we'll send word to Thrall about the Admiral's fleet. If that human's planning on attacking Durotar, he'll find the warriors of the Horde ready to greet him. It'd be taking the war chief some time to amass the Horde's warriors. You gotta gather what allies you can find before the Admiral makes his move against Durotar. Take this Zeppelin and travel to Mulgore. The mighty Tauren who be living there will lend what help they can. Seek out the chieftain Cairn Bloodhoof. He will honor his oath to the war chief.
So, poor Cairn.
My quarry nears.
Some of us are still waiting to see him come back. Seriously, come on, dude. You know you wanna. Although this is an interesting mission because this is all the first time another individual enters the Warcraft setting, named Bane. Is that the only quest I have so far? Oh, I guess so. Meh. Bane. What matters is our plan. No, seriously though, not that guy. That guy's an idiot. I still hold out hope that Cairn, will actually come back in 5.5. If Cairn was actually brought back for 5.5 and the Trial of Garrosh, that'd be awesome. That's all I'm going to say about that. That would be awesome. However, in the interest of fairness, I do have to mention that it's actually very likely Cairn will not be coming back. And the reason why is actually very simple. Number one, the more people you bring back, the less their deaths mean. That's just simple true. In other words, if you are a writer, every time you want to bring a major character back, you have to think about that from not just a long-term perspective, but from a long-term perspective, because you are potentially ruining just about everything with regards to death being an important thing for everyone in the entire setting. You can still bring them back, but you have to be very careful and very cautious about bringing them back, okay? Number two, and this is actually, in my opinion, the more important reason. Put simply, as I mentioned before, there are two major types of spirits that are good for all intents and purposes, right? Ancestral and elemental. There's actually a quest where you find out that Cairn has actually basically become an ancestral spirit in WoW. And you get the very distinct impression that he is welcomed as that he wants to be an ancestral spirit, that Cairn accepts the fact that he has moved on, and now he is now one of those ancestral spirits that's going to be watching over and taking care of, Taurens and shamans for generations to come, for centuries to come. And I know that sounds kind of hokey because in a way what I'm saying is Cairn has not left us, but it's more like Cairn has basically, like I said with Thrall, retired. He has his final step now. He is now another one of those people. Yes, Garrosh murdered him. He has made it to his final resting grounds, basically, and now he is going to be watching over us, or rather watching over them, from henceforth. So it's very likely that Cairn will not be coming back for those two reasons, unfortunately, because I do miss Cairn. The Darkspear are not the only ones who have loyalty. Oh no, Garrosh would not have defeated Cairn. I am one of those people who strongly believes Cairn would have defeated Garrosh if he had been allowed a fair fight, if Magatha had not intervened.
I'm acting on instinct. I've got the scent.
Damn right, Arjunix. Cairn was my brother. Probably one of the most important, powerful lines in all of Cataclysm.
Who are you, traveler? Why have you come here?
I come in the name of Thrall, war chief of the Horde. His lands are in danger, and he calls upon his old allies to aid him. I seek the one known as Cairn. Do you know him?
I am Cairn, but I can be of help to no one. Return to your war chief and tell him that I am dead, just as my heart is dead.
The barbarous centaur attacked our village recently.
Yeah, think about that line.
Our chieftain's only
Knowing what we know
son,
now.
Bane, was taken captive. The centaur are cannibals and do not keep prisoners for long. We searched everywhere for a sign that Bane was still alive, but we found no trace of him. Poor Cairn has been lethargic for some time. Without his wisdom and leadership, I fear that the centaur will decimate our tribe. Perhaps if you could find some clue as to his son's fate, it might rouse the chieftain from his stupor. Find the Boven Wind Totem out on the plains. He and his brethren will aid you on your search.
No, Nethrazim. When they use the word cannibal, they are using the human term, that is to say, the real-life human term. In fiction, when you use the word cannibal, what you mean is actually eater of other sentients. But eater of other sentients usually takes too long to say, and in fact, most people don't actually understand what that means. So, most people summarize eater of other sentients as cannibals. This is true in several forms of fiction, not just Warcraft. So, Magatha Grimtotem is unfortunately not dead. To my knowledge, the last we saw of her was in Cataclysm in, Thousand Needles. Or what used to be Thousand Needles, the lake. Thousand Needles, you do a whole quest chain where you help her, kind of, unfortunately. And then she escapes with some powerful, Twilight Cultist artifact. And to my knowledge, that is actually the last we've heard of her. Let me make this clear. I hate Magatha Grimtotem. She is a despicable, horrifying person. You know, kind of like Trevor's mother in Grand Theft Auto 5, to give you a good example. Just a truly irredeemable, terrible person. And, she needs to die. She needs to die. So I'm hoping they will bring her back so that we can kill her properly. That's another person who there is absolutely no redemption for. None. God, I hate that twit. Hey, Iron Man. No, not Thrazim. Since I'm going to bed soonish, what I'm most likely going to be doing is doing this mission, possibly the next quest, depends on how long this one takes me, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to bed for the night and pick it up tomorrow morning. In about 10-ish hours. Probably more like 11 hours, to be honest with you, because I'm having a lot of trouble sleeping lately, thanks to this. You should try laying down on a pillow or on a bed or anything when your neck hurts if you move even so much as an inch. I'm sorry, so much as a millimeter in any direction. It's not very pleasant. So, anyways. Enough about my woes and troubles. Only a little, Ajunix, because I would like the tactile pleasure of gripping my hands around her scrawny little neck and wringing until her last gasps for mercy are cut off into strangled cries as her blood gushes out her eyes. And anyways, the point being, I kind of want to kill her myself. So I would prefer to be able to do that. Which one? I mean, Panda. I'm not evil.
Greetings,
That is
Brother
justified.
Wintotem. I was told you could help me locate Chieftain Bloodhoof's son. There may still be a chance that the boy lives, but we'll need to find the Centaur encampment as quickly as possible.
I see.
Ooh, that hurt.
I dreamed of this. Nagradabash.
That's the Centaur encampment. They could be keeping Bane in one of those cages, but we'll have to fight our way to them.
I am one with the earth.
I don't like dealing with shamans.
The spirits surround.
These guys have interesting abilities, but they're very micro heavy,
Flush them out.
and it gets annoying dealing with them. Where the hell is Rokon? There he is. Rexar would have made an interesting war chief, but I still stand by my statement that Cairn was actually the best war chief. Although I probably would have gone with Lorerunner as my second follow-up, for reasons I've already gone into. Oh, they can. Well then. Oh, that's right. Fun fact: this is the first time Res, as it is, was in Warcraft. Now I know you're rushing to tell me that I'm actually wrong because there was a hero ability back in Warcraft 3, but this is the first time Resurrection was kind of a normal thing, is what I'm trying to get across here. Just 75 mana, up you get. Again, I'm just pointing that up because, again, it's a step towards World of Warcraft. I'm just pointing out all the little tidbits that they got closer and closer to WoW with this little thing. Now, Nethrazim, I am of the opinion that death is something that should be meted out very, very, very carefully, and only under certain circumstances. I do think Mengsk should have died. Period. In fact, I had a whole speech about this back when I was watching that scene back at the end of Heart of the Swarm, about how, you know, some people asked, how could you possibly be happy with the fact that he died so quickly and so relatively painlessly? And my response was basically, when you're dealing with someone like that dangerous, that cunning, that capable, and that competent, someone who has come back from defeat so many times it's almost a joke, the only action you could take is to kill them quickly, completely, and utterly. And that is exactly what she did. She destroyed him. Nethrazim, if you think a 10-second death is slow, I hate to break this to you, but most real deaths are a lot slower and worse and more horrible than that. There are a lot of worse fates than being exploded. I mean, really, there are a lot of worse fates in real life. Ugh. Anyways, let's not talk about that happy subject anymore. Let's go resurrect this guy. Come back, my friend. Alright, where am I going? Over here. I'm sure it did, Nethrazim. And shrug is all I'm going to say to that. So, in response to what Drago did, it depends on how you found the pictures and how actively you were looking for them, but I'm going to give you a little bit of advice I once learned. Don't ever go out of your way to find pictures of someone online. Most people, even if it's just a friend or a comrade or a colleague, tend to react weirdly to that kind of thing, and for reasons I understand. If it's someone you're trying to be romantic with, yeah, that's just generally a faux pas, and I would not recommend ever doing that. I know, you already did. Damage done. Just saying, for the future. Another faux pas, asking for pictures. Don't ever ask. If they offer, fine. But Don't ever ask. Holy moly, that guy hurts like hell. Let's get rid of him, shall we? I think the YouTube Music Awards is a joke. And every time I saw the advert, because, you know, I get a whole lot of YouTube stuff for being someone who publishes as many videos as I do. And I get so much spam about that, being like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, you need to vote on this, you need to get into this.
Don't worry, Bane.
And I'm just
They'll
like...
have you back to your father in no time.
I don't care. This is retarded.
Your command?
Hey, Bane.
I'm ready to track. Order.
So, how many people here have played World of Warcraft, other than Bragwin? Because I know she has. Because she's awesome like that. Aha, several people have. How many of you have completed, or at least gotten through Wing 2 of the Siege of Orgrimmar? I'll get to why in a moment, because it's really relevant to what I'm doing right now. So, how many of you out there have actually... I don't know how to put this. How many of you out there get personally offended, personally aggravated at the sight of what Orgrimmar has become? Because it's the first time... certainly Orgrimmar outside of the instance has been getting worse and worse and worse, but it's all little things, things you have to go out of your way to look for. In the Siege of Orgrimmar, it's really blatant and horrifyingly in your face just how screwed up my city has become under that idiot's leadership. One of the first things you see when you actually enter the gates is several Theramore citizens and Darkspirit trolls who were tied to posts and used as target practice. Now, if that doesn't sound horrifying, I want you to really think about that for a moment. Think about being tied to a post and people use you as target practice for bows and arrows. You want to talk about something that's not a slow death. Ugh. Hang on a second, I need to get Misha back. I lost Misha somewhere along the line. There we go. And of course, like I said, Theramore citizens, because, you know, that just seems like a logical usage of prisoners of war that you captured from your brutal, horrifying attack, unwarranted attack on the people that killed 90% of them anyways. And yeah, it's very much Kaiser, Legion in New Vegas. But another thing, let's just keep going with this, okay? So you do that, that's pretty horrifying. One of the next things you see a bunch of Theramore citizens, again, who are being forced to fight each other for the amusement of their Korkron masters. When you get near them, they aggro you, and what they say is, and I quote, I'm sorry, I don't want to do this, they took my children. I'm going the wrong way. Oh, shush. That wasn't to you guys, that was to Super Awesome KJ. And then, as you continue going through the Siege of Orgrimmar, one of the other things you encounter is the Cleft of Shadows, and you start going your way through there. And as you're... I'm sorry, I actually need to back up for a bit. As you're on the approach to the Cleft of Shadows, you encounter a number of random... not even random NPCs, named NPCs, like the matron who takes care of the war orphans and whatnot, who is hiding in their rooms with the doors barred off from the inside, by the way. And as they're in there, the children are desperately crying and out for help and terrified and wondering exactly how, you know, just scared. I don't even know how to, I don't feel like elaborating here. They're just scared. They're just scared because they're just kids and they don't know what's going on and they don't know how to deal with it, and the matron's just trying desperately to comfort them even though she knows things probably aren't going to be good. The final blow for me was, like I said, the Cleft of Shadows. When you get there, there are all of the demonic trainers and individuals who are all up on meat hooks hanging from the rock ceiling. And every single one of them has been brutally murdered, and their corpse is still burning. And there's signs under them, you know, blasphemer, and, you know, demon worshiper, stuff like that, right? And as you go through the cleft, you encounter the last trainer there, the last guy who was refusing to die, and says, I refuse to burn like the rest. And he has entered into a life pact with a frickin' Doom Lord. Now, if you don't know actually what that means, allow me to elaborate in lore terms what that means. That means I just lost Bane. God damn it. That means that he has willingly given himself, he has willingly given this Doom Lord his soul forever and his life for now, and until that Doom Lord's task is complete, it's basically like this. The Doom Lord will do literally whatever he says. It's an extremely powerful demon that is willing to undergo his tasks, and whatever those may be. And in this case, it's killing the Korkron and the players, as the case might be. But once the demon is dead, his own life is forfeit, and then so is his soul's. He was so driven to this extreme. I mean, try to think about that for a moment. Try to think of what would drive you to do something like that. Now, the reason I bring all of this up is, number one, it's excellent storytelling. I'm sorry. I as much as I'm horrified by this, like I was talking about last night, this is a good kind of horror. This is the kind of horror that has impact, that has meaning, that just really, really emphasizes the story and what they're going on with this. You know, they're really trying to get across the impact of what's happening here. Number two, I helped build that city. In the very missions I'm doing right now, I helped make Orgrimmar. I helped defend Orgrimmar for 9 years. I stood by Thrall, my war chief, and stood by my horde and my people, defending our people against the entire world, because no one was willing to give the horde a choice. No one was willing to give the horde a chance, excuse me. No one was willing to give us even so much as 1 inch. That's why that really gets to me. That's why that pisses me off on a personal level. That's my city that they are, that filth ruined. Excuse me. I don't often like to get that emotional. But yeah. I helped build Orgrimmar. I helped keep Orgrimmar, and I helped defend Orgrimmar. You don't mess with my home. You don't ever mess with my home. Excuse me. And that's one of the reasons why I admit, even though
I'm acting on instinct.
Even though I try to be, you know, third person, even though I try to be neutral, even though I try to be a distant party and try to be detached about things so I can look at things and that kind of thing. But I genuinely hope Garrosh is not redeemable so I can kill him. And that's really what that comes down to. I can't be dishonest about that.
Bane, my son. I thought I'd lost you forever. I was an old fool to despair. Rexxar, by returning my son to me, you have given me new life. For that I will ever be grateful. Now, you said that your war chief was in trouble, that the Horde needed the Tauren once again. Well, Thrall did much for us in his time, and we will not fail him. My warriors will rendezvous with the war chief upon the battlefield, but I will be returning with you.
Because Karen is awesome.
The storm is coming.
You know, Taffy, it's actually funny you say that, because I do have an understanding of just how fortunate I have been to have the experience, to have been able to keep playing WoW for as long as I have. Because it is a financial as well as a time commitment, and I have been fortunate to have that blessing. But nevertheless, I do feel grateful for that. In fact, just this most recent Monday, one of my viewers, Guido, I actually had to unsub WoW last week after I killed Garrosh, because, you know, I just don't have the money right now. I can't, not with all the medical stuff coming up. And Guido actually gave me a month sub just so I could keep playing WoW to help me keep concentrated and stuff. He had his own reasons, but the point being, I was very grateful to that, because it's WoW. I love WoW. It's a great game. Moving on. Teleport. Ojunix, your question is long and I don't understand it. I mean, I'm guessing you're asking would they kill innocents, to which my answer is no. At least, okay, actually, my answer is yes and no. The leaders of the Alliance would not go for that. The Alliance soldiers would probably be more inclined to do so, and we've seen that throughout Cataclysm. Yes, I do think the Orphan and the Matrons will be okay after the siege.
You bet, Trixie. You returned just in time, Rexar. Our scouts found this wounded ogre near the borderlands. Despite his wounds, he came all the way here seeking help.
Must help. New warlord conquer clan. Kill many warriors. Lead clan to ruin. Brothers not survive. Me seek help.
New warlord, huh? Don't worry, friend. I think I can help you. Have your witch doctors tend to his wounds, Vol'jin. I'm going to pay a little visit to his clan and meet this new warlord for myself.
I don't think you're an annoyance either, by the way, Drago.
My quarry nears. On the prowl.
Just my personal take on it.
We're under attack!
I think we're under attack, guys. Now, if I'm remembering, this is a quick and easy mission. So we're going to go and barrel through this one, and then I'm probably going to go ahead and crash. By the way, Drago, I apologize because you probably are wondering why I haven't said anything more about your plight, but that's because I don't really have anything else to say. My best advice is to be honest and contrite and polite. Jopa, that's why you ask me, what's the story of WoW? And then I say, well, hang on, let me talk for 15 hours. Actually, that's a lie. I've already been talking for 30, and I'm going to be talking for more during Frozen Throne, so shrug. One of the interesting things, though, I have to say, like I've said it a billion times, this is the prototype for WoW. But one of the interesting things about this is you really do feel like you are very much the main character of the story. Even though you clearly have a party, there's that feeling that the player has of being, you know, a primary driving force in the story. What I like to call the Guild Wars mechanism, basically. Now, in WoW, that's what they wanted, but that wasn't something that really became a thing until Wrath, to be honest with you. It in bits and pieces, you'd seen it in Vanilla and in BC, but it really didn't become such a major element of World of Warcraft until Wrath, at which point the player characters genuinely became the primary characters, you know, the primary plot characters. So, yeah. I just like the fact that... I guess what I'm trying to get across here is I find it interesting and... I find it interesting and fascinating that we started off very relevant to the story and then dropped significantly in villain, and everything since then, back up to Pandaria, has been reaching back up to this point. And in Pandaria, I think we have once again reached this point of, you know, being absolutely critical to the story. I think that without question. Scritch, scritch, scritch. Also, those aren't two-headed. A lot of ogres that appear as two-headed shouldn't actually appear that way in lore, for lack of a better way to put it. If, for example, the ogre we just saw should not have been two-headed. But part of the problem is that in Warcraft 3, I think there was only one ogre model that didn't have two heads, because they hadn't actually decided that yet, because they kind of retconned the whole two-head thing. So... Shrig. Damn it, my nose. Bear tornado. It certainly has been happening enough this campaign, hasn't it? In case you're wondering why, you can't cyclone a hero. But you can cyclone a unit, and the only unit I have is Misha, so they look at my party of heroes and they go, "Go, Cyclone Misha! Bear Cyclone!" You know, they'll do it again in a second here. Because I'm sure there's a Cycloner in that group. Actually, I don't think there is. Never mind. My bad. Anyway, so, Lorthermar. I think Lorthermar would make a good war chief for, ironically, several of the same reasons why I think Cairn would have made a good one. And I can summarize it very simply. By the way, Ojunix, Mario is... There we go. So, as I was saying, Thrall, as he grew older, grew softer, basically. He wanted to get rid of the mantle of leadership, and succeeded, props to him. But he became more and more of a pacifist. He tried too hard for peace, and ended up basically being... I hate myself for saying this, but he ended up being too, weak. I'm just going to say it like that. Politically, and in terms of charisma and whatnot, he ended up being too weak. While a lot of us still had a great deal of loyalty to him, and, you know, still will. Oh, I guess they actually added more soon. Wait, hang on.
That must be the ogre's village. I should fit right in.
You know welcome, half-breed.
Stonemaul clan for
You know
life.
Stonemaul warrior.
Look, I don't want any trouble. I just want to talk with your warlord.
You want talk Korgal? You get past us.
Okay. I think I can handle that. So anywho, as I was saying, by the way, I'm glad Ender's Game was good. I may actually give it a watch sometime. Not anytime soon. I got way too many things to do that. Anyways, I'm getting a little off topic. The point I'm trying to get to here is that Thrall was very much... Wow, all of these have one head. Maybe that guy actually was supposed to have two heads. Because it's very unlike them to make a mistake. Oh, never mind. Okay, that's what it is. Because now there's two heads over here. Whatever. Moving on. I'm getting off topic. Thrall was too pacifist. Thrall was too pliable. Thrall was too weak. Garrosh was too harsh. Garrosh was too stupid. Garrosh was too hard. Between these two types of leaders, there is a middle ground, and it is my opinion that Lorthermar is an excellent example of that middle ground. Anybody who did any of the Thunder Isle lore quests and the awesome solo cutscenes and scenarios has a good example of Lorthamar's character growth. Lorthamar actually had a fairly large amount of character growth in Pandaria, and props to them. They got a great voice actor for him too. And so there's a lot of nuances and subtleties to his character that were added. Really, Mean Panda? Nah. Anyways, so Lorthamar is the kind of leader who is demonstrably both strong enough to defend his people and stand up for his people and do whatever is necessary in order to keep, in order to be a strong leader, but at the same time is not actually going to be a warmonger and actively seek problems, is willing to forgive, is willing to extend a hand of friendship. He's a good middle ground leader, and that's why I thought Lorthamar was a good pick, and why he was my second pick for War Chief.
You fight good, half-breed. You Machnathal, half-weak orc blood in veins. Still, you strong. Why you come here?
I've come to join your clan. I want to be a Stonewall too.
You got some overblood. You got right to join. But do you got the strength? We see, half-breed. We see. So, you want to join the Stonewall clan? First, you take trial of strength. Need find the gauntlet. Harsh Valley full of big foes. Slay foes. Run the gauntlet. That proves strength to us. Go now, half-breed. We see if you return.
The ogres on the left and right are wearing paint. The ogres in the middle is wearing armor. Ogres is so fat I called him two. Now, what the hell was I about to say? Oh, right. One of the things I find fascinating about Warcraft is the way they approach clan and clan mindset, and ultimately, it's something that I enjoyed so much I actually decided to implement it in many ways within my setting, with the Primus setting. With the clan mentality being such a huge deal and such a big thing, among certain races, not all of course, that you would identify so much of who and what you are based off of your clan. And I'm sorry, I've always just found that concept interesting. Maybe I'm the only one who's like that, but the idea that there's so much of a loyalty and a leadership to a clan, even though a clan isn't necessarily a thing that's a family or a tribe or anything like that. It's literally just something it's an organization that you have earned the right to be a part of, and therefore, it's something you seek out, if you know what I mean. Something you want to be a part of, and therefore fight for, owe your loyalty for, etc. Just a concept that I find interesting. And yeah, I remember that patch, Rascor. There was actually quite a few people who complained about that, but then again, this is World of Warcraft, where people will complain about everything. If they came out and said, "We've done everything you ever want with World of Warcraft," people would say, "Oh, now there's nothing to do." Complain, 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 complain. Because people complain about World of Warcraft. Cats meow, dogs bark, fish go swim. People complain about WoW. And let's make this clear just before people try to get on me. No, I'm not trying to be an apologist for WoW. WoW has made dozens upon dozens upon dozens of mistakes over its career, including recent ones. The problem is, a lot of people who make complaints about WoW complain about really dumb things instead of actual things. My first choice for War Chief Taphius was Cairn. Cairn coming back and reclaiming the mantle of War Chief. I think he would be a good leader for the same reasons, and it's Cairn. And if for speaking as a writer, no, he actually was here in Continuity DE, and it's actually referenced in later on. Anyways, from a writer's perspective, if you have a major character die and you want that character to have impact, death to have impact, but you want to bring them back, first, kill them in a way that is impacting and will help establish another character in the process. In this case, they did that with 2, Magatha and Garrosh. Second thing, if they're going to come back, make sure there's a nice big chunk of time before they come back. Don't just bring them back immediately. You have to let it sit in the back of the minds of the viewers before they come back. And if you remember, he died at the end of Wrath. It's been a while. And reason number 3, because how do I put this? When you bring them back, you can't just bring them back randomly. You have to bring them back in a way that is thematically relevant to their character and to their death. And bringing him back to claim the mantle of War Chief and be the one to do the killing blow to Garrosh would be beautifully poetic justice. So that's why, as a writer, I think Cairn should have come back and taken the mantle. Now, it's not that I don't think Vol'jin can do it. Vol'jin's a great leader, all things considered. He's just no Cairn. Also, to be just a little bit blunt, Vol'jin was the obvious choice, and I don't like to go for the obvious choice in my picks unless I've got some kind of ulterior motive or reason going on, you know? You know, Drago, that's a good example of what I was talking about. People just kind of complaining about things to complain about things. You know, it's popular or it's new. Let's go complain about it, because that's what we do. Roll my eyes. Anyways, now, someone asked a question earlier, and I don't actually remember what it was. Hang on, scroll up, scroll up. Oh, that was Ojunix's question. Top 3 WoW mistakes, okay? Mistake number 1, the way they mishandled the story in Burning Crusade. I talked about this extensively during the Illidan mission back during my Warcraft 3 run. Don't really feel like going over that again, because it was actually lengthy, but they screwed up a lot of the storyline of Burning Crusade, a lot of the primary storyline about Illidan, the Legion, etc. That was a mess, and it was an avoidable mess, and it was a regrettable mess, and they did fix it a little, and it is kind of the reason we got such an awesome Wrath, but it was still a huge mistake. I would probably go ahead and call that the biggest mistake, personally. Second biggest mistake. Rogues! No, I'm kidding. I couldn't resist. Paladins? No. Second biggest mistake, I would have to say every single time they build up a major plot thread and then drop it. There are at least 3 of these I can think of right off the top of my head that have never actually been followed through on to date. The fact that they never actually did, I can't think of the name of it. Ajol Narub. The fact that they never actually did Ajol Narub. The fact that they never actually... It was supposed to be a whole zone with multiple quest chains, several instances, and a raid. It turned into 2 instances. Time and money are why that happened. So I'm not necessarily sure I can call it a mistake, but that is one of the big examples of that. Another good example, this happened in Cataclysm, the Naga raid we were supposed to get, and the culmination of the Neptulon storyline, which as of now is still unfinished. Now, this third one has since been corrected, but I'm going to list it for the sake of completion. The King of Stormwind plot thread. Not many people know the fact that... By the way, Janine and Brigwin, I love you both. You're awesome. Not many people know that the King of Stormwind, who we now know as Varian, was actually in Vanilla WoW. Completely different model, no name, just King of Stormwind. He was being held captive by some Nagas in a little facility off of the coast of Dustwalla Marsh. And that was it, and that was all. Now, yes, he came in during, sort of, that island came in during the Scepter of An-Karaj quest chain. But that's another excellent example of a plot thread that took them years to finally get around to actually fulfilling, because they just let it dangling there for forever. And so forth and so on. I'm not going to keep going listing all the examples. There are many examples of plot threads that WoW has basically just kind of left dangling. Here, I got one for you. The Emerald Dream. The Emerald Dream is something that's been around since freaking Vanilla. Again, something that's been around since Vanilla. The Emerald Dream has actually been... Wailing Caverns is, in terms of overall storyline, the first time we actually heard about the Emerald Dream. And then it also came back in the Sunken Temple thing. and was referenced a few other places in quests, so it was a fairly major part of vanilla, and there's a reason why so many people were predicting, myself included back then, that the first big expansion would either be Outland or the Emerald Dream. And then it was Outland, so okay, next big expansion will probably be Emerald Dream. Nope, it was Wrath. Okay, that was awesome, but, you know, next expansion, Emerald Dream. People have been saying that ever since, and the funny part is, if you'll notice, of my 2 picks of what the next expansion will be, neither of them are the Emerald Dream. And so forth and so on. So that's big mistake number 2. Big mistake number 3. I'm not in charge of it. There we go. Yes, I was, CMC. Interestingly enough, I have mostly bad things to say about the Gates of Encourage event, because the Gates of Encourage event was a mess. And the main reason why it's a mess could be best described as server load. Try to imagine a few thousand players in a single zone, and I think you basically already understand the problem. I shouldn't even have to keep going. I shouldn't even have to explain. So, the Encourage event screwed with the entirety of the servers. It messed up everything. Now, I have some good stories as a result of that, so, you know, that's always nice, and that's always cool. But, bottom line is, the event was kind of poorly handled. A lot of people who were there, myself included, by the way, didn't actually get to actually see what happened. I got disconnected there a lot. You know, I was there and I was like, yes, it's great. Hang on, loading, please wait, hang on, we gotta relog. Okay, I'm back. Hang on. All right, I'm back. You know, I know I say I was there, and that is actually a point of pride for me. But I only have one truly good story from the Gates of Encourage event, and that is one time I was on a boat. I wish I still had the screenshots for this. I was on a boat on the Alliance, going from Menethil Harbor to Theramore, and when the boat loaded, it was in Stone Talon Peak, as in the ground, under the... Yeah. That happened while the Gates event was happening. I'm not making that up. Seriously. Yeah, thank you, Marquis. Dark Legacy Comics, he was also there for... I swear to God that was the same exact boat, because, yeah. That same exact thing happened to me. I'm not even kidding. Not even kidding. I actually messaged him on email when I first saw that, asking what server he was on. He never responded to me. I was kind of sad about that. But I actually do wonder if he and I were on that same boat or just had a very similar boat, because, yeah. Oh yeah, the disappearing boat. That would happen too. Janine, I don't know if you were having that at the Gates time, but there was another incident where basically you'd get on a boat and it would go out to the point where it's supposed to load the zone, and then it would vanish, but you wouldn't go with it, and so you just kind of plummet, and you're way out here in fatigue zone, you know? And so you're like, and then you'd start swimming back, and most of the time you just die because you're in fatigue waters, you know, because you're way out there. I had some good stories from the Gates of Encourage, but it was a mess. I'll just be blunt. It was a mess. So no, I don't think they should do... to finish your question, I don't think they should do any other events like that. I think that what they did with the events since then has worked fairly well, all things considered. Is there nothing I could teleport to? Oh, whatever, just go. So, DE's question. Was I around when the plague was bouncing around from Hakar in Zul'Gurub? Yes, I was. And yes, I was actually in the auction house in Ironforge when that happened. And yes, I was one of those people who actually helped spread it unintentionally. Just because of the nature of it. I spread it unintentionally on my Warlock, specifically, because at the time, the status of buffs and debuffs on a creature was saved when it was desummoned, so I died to the plague, right? And then it bounced to my pet, and then, you know, I come back, and I'm sitting there in the auction house like, oh, whatever, hang on. Get my Voidwalker back. And my Voidwalker has the plague. still, because you know that's how it worked back then. Nowadays, it just wipes the slate clean anytime it despawns something like that. So, yeah, I kind of accidentally contributed to the spread of that. Yes, Raskor, in fact, I have contributed to that. I have done one of those. I have also kamikaze raided Undercity before. That's a lot more interesting, in my opinion. I actually played Alliance a lot more back in the day, back in vanilla. For various reasons that all have to do with the fact that my friends were playing Alliance, to be honest with you.
You got strength after all, half-breed. You worthy to be Stonewall. Now you in. What you want from Clan?
I want you and your warriors to help the Horde battle the humans. The Stonewall clan would be a great asset to the Orc war chief.
Stupid half-breed. We ogres split from Horde long ago. They weak, soft. We no owe them nothing.
Say it right, Janine.
Long as
Tell
I
them
rule,
why we switched to the Horde
Stonewall
for
no help no
full time.
orcs.
Then perhaps you've ruled long enough. Korgal, as a member of the Stonewall clan, I claim the right to challenge you for leadership.
We had no real challenge in long time, half-breed. Breaking you be fun. We both take trial of blood. Me and you. No tricks, no magic toys. Just muscle and skills.
See, I knew where Janine's tickle
dumb.
spots were,
You think me slow.
so
Now you see why
she
Korgal
kind of had to
rules
come over to
Clan.
piece to Horde. She didn't have a lot of choice.
Underestimated Korgal's skills.
So this is actually kind of a
I
hard
need to
fight.
call
I'm going to
upon my
concentrate for just a
beasts
second
to
here.
defeat him.
But just because I'm concentrating doesn't mean I don't feel like challenging myself. So, if any of you guys had questions I didn't answer,
Unleash the beast!
please feel free to mention them, so I can answer them. But yeah, you get no items for this fight. This is actually a pretty rough. This is actually a pretty rough fight. This is one of the roughest fights in this whole thing. And I remember I was mentioning earlier the idea of boss fights. This is one of the first ones of that. Yeah, right. He's got invul. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. It's okay. I can recoup. I can recoup. There we go. Down, down. And a little bit further. And then the thing's just gonna sit there. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, fine. Die. Oh my god, really? Really? I don't... Whatever. I guess I could cheat and just beat this guy in one shot. No, Pyro. The Emerald Dream is still actively a problem as of now. Ah, good. The Ultimate Quill Beast. And don't forget, the Emerald Dream is also a huge problem because of Unzoth, and the one who basically made it. Holy moly, this guy hits hard. You know what, I think I'm just gonna cheat. I hate to do it, but honestly, I'm here for the lore. Wow, the story and the lore. I've beaten this guy on hard. I think I've proven my point. That guy's a rough fight, though. He really is. On hard, you basically end up kiting him and
I
summoning
have
and
defeated
resummoning
Korgal in
and
single
resummoning.
combat.
It gets a little old,
I have
admittedly.
passed the trial of blood. I rule Stonewall clan now, and I command you all to war. You ogres arm yourselves and meet the Orc war chief upon the plains. Blood and glory to the Stonewall clan!
He didn't say it right. He needs to say it like Saruman. To war! I can't do it properly because I have to be loud. Ah, yes,
Unleash my
Seraphil.
strength.
Anyways, in response to your question, Drago, I think they're handling it extremely poorly, Drago, and it's really showing. Speaking as someone who's been around since, you know, multiplayer
paths
games
converge.
became a thing. Yeah, we're gonna definitely keep that. One of the things I can tell you decisively is that there's a certain way you basically should handle an online community. And just about everyone who, as of this point in time... Did I turn cheese back off? Yeah, Daddy... Okay, yeah. There we go. Just about everyone who deals with an online community over a length of time tends to go through the same few stages. And the very first thing any online developer does is they make a mistake by immediately being too harsh and too callous and not planning ahead enough. All of the really big problems with regards to all the balance problems, all the bugs, all the exploits, all of that is stuff they should have planned for. But again, I can accept and understand because they've never dealt with an online community like this. They weren't prepared for this, and it shows. You know what I mean? It really shows that they had no idea what they were doing. So they've been handling everything pretty damn poorly, all things considered. Now that being said, I'm not going to necessarily hold them against them, and I am glad that they're giving out the the stimulus package thing to help accommodate the problems they've been having. But to be a little bit frank, GTO should not be out yet. It is not a finished product at all. Right now, it is a go do random stuff simulator. There's nothing interesting or engaging about it in the long term. They should have waited until it was actually ready, and then they should have pushed it out. And I just got an email, which I'm now going to go read, because of obvious reasons. Oh my, I have 3 emails. Interesting. Well, if the individual who does not wish to be named is in the stream, yes, I'll go ahead and enter you for the raffle. And thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it. I prefer to message people through stream, but I can also email you it. So no problems there. I also apparently have some Twitter things. Oh, this is just people advertising my Twitter, which is awesome. And I highly encourage everyone out there to advertise my Twitter feed so more people come. Next expansion, who knows, Reaper? I've given my 2 best guesses. I don't understand that question, Omni. It was obviously staged. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
You be tougher than I imagined, Rexar. The ogres be a great help when the battle begins. We just get word that the war chief and his forces set up the command post in the central basin. The Tauren and ogres you gathered going to be joining them soon. Check in with Thrall at his base. The battle against Admiral Proudmoore's forces could start up at any time.
By the way, I'd just like to clarify that I am not awesome. Now, in my opinion, the next expansion is going to be one of 2 things primarily. It's either going to be the full combination of the Ashara Naga Inzoth quest arc and story arc, which may or may not involve Naga being playable, or it's going to involve the Legion in some way or another. Those are my 2 biggest guesses. I guess there is a third guess in the interest of completion, and that is that it will be something basically that's not one of the outstanding dangling threads. You know, like there's the Emerald Dream, there's the Inzoth stuff, there's the Legion. Those are the 3 major plot threads that are still dangling. There's a few other smaller ones, but those are the biggies.
I wander alone.
There hasn't been a Legion expansion yet, Reaper. That's kind of the problem.
Once again, you have done the Horde a great service, Rexar. I am in your debt. If you're willing, there's one last thing I need before the hammer falls. We've crafted a new standard for
Rumor,
Durotar,
okay. Not yet confirmed.
A mighty banner bearing the symbol of the Horde. I want to place a shamanistic blessing on it, but I require a few items to complete my spell. Would you gather them for me?
Of course, Thrall. I'd be proud to.
In response to your question, DE, there is no vampiric race. The Sand Lane are a specific variant on undead that were crafted by Kel'Thuzad and the Second Lich King. So, for all intents and purposes, there is no such thing as such a species. So, no, I don't think the Sand Lane should be a playable race. I think there are many playable races that should be under consideration. I still think Nerubians are my personal favorite. That just because I'd absolutely love that, I think that'd be awesome. But you know, there's the Nerubians, there's the Naga, there's the ogres, there's the Vrykul. There's all of these are at least viable. The Jinyu are also a possibility, all things considered. I know a lot of people who actually really want Hosen to become playable. I am not one of those, but I could at least see it. I know a lot of people who also would like to see Murlocs become playable. I'm actually kind of, if I were to be honest about you, I'm just basically kind of indifferent to the idea. I have nothing against it, but I have nothing for it either. It doesn't really matter to me. As far as classes, it is my opinion that there are only 2 classes they haven't really done that they could still do. Class 1. Demon Hunters. I've actually talked before about Demon Hunters. I don't really feel like repeating myself, especially not when I'm this tired, but long story short, I have actually done my own little design document setup of how Demon Hunters can and should work, in my opinion, and I think it could work. I think it could actually work genuinely as a new class. For anyone who's curious, the specs would be tank, melee DPS, and range DPS / pet class. The other class would be Necromancer. True Necromancer. And in case you're looking at me like, well, what do you mean? Originally there were actually going to be Necromancers. I really don't know how to pronounce that word sometimes. I mean, I know both pronunciations are correct. I just kind of flip-flop. Anyways, Necromancers were originally going to be one of the classes they were going to add in Wrath, actually. And so were the original version of Death Knights, and they kind of converged the two into what we have for Death Knights now. But I think a true Necromancer class would work. And I've seen several design documents done by other people that I think would work for this. And my personal favorite pick for this, of the 3 specs, is Full-on Summoning class, which is basically pure pet class, like to an extent that Beast Hunters used to be. Tank, believe it or not, and Healer. I think that's my personal best pick for the second class that could really work. And Ajunik, you're right about those complaints, and I do even hear those complaints even here on the stream from people who are, awesome. But I don't think those complaints are valid. To put it bluntly, is this what I would? Oh God. Yeah, this is the bonus mission. I might have to actually cheat for this. This is rough. For if those of you who've played this, you know what this is. At least if this is what I think it is. This is the little optional thing, and this is pretty rough. I might just cheat to push through this. Reaper, it is up to you. If I were you, to be genuine and sincere, I would wait until 5.5 comes out and debate it based on that. How awesome or lack of awesome 5.5 is. And by the way, I know this is not a Warcraft thing, but in most stories, in most fantasy settings, necromancy has plenty to do with life and death. Life and death, and is not necessarily just about raising the dead and, killing the living and stuff like that. There's plenty of examples of that sort of thing working for the healing type of stuff. D&D is actually a pretty good example of what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna cheat. I want to go to bed. We're almost up to the big finale, and I'm not going to cheat for the finale. I don't want to cheat myself out of it, to be a little bit blunt. No, Reaper, there is none whatsoever. We're not even 100% sure there is going to be a 5.5. It is likely, based on what we know so far, but we are not 100% sure. I hate to cheat, I really do, especially since I said I wouldn't have Frozen Throne. But I don't mind doing this, based on these exact circumstances. This is the super optional dungeon. This is another thing that they were trying out. This is basically an instance. You go through here, you fight much harder stuff than you usually fight, and you get much better loot and tomes and stuff than you otherwise would. So this is basically your prototype of the World of Warcraft instances, which eventually came to be. Ooh, yes, you get to have that cairn, definitely. I know, Nethrazim, and part of me does understand that you guys don't really care if I cheat, but part of my problem is, as weird as this is going to sound, I don't enjoy playing it nearly as much as when I cheat. I mean, I guess that's obvious, because, I'm literally just attack, moving, and going through this. There's no thought, there's no effort. It's just, blazing through it. So that's one of the reasons I don't like to cheat, even when I'm doing a lore run, which technically, I should be okay with that, because all I'm doing is talking about the story. So I guess that's just me trying to defend myself. Don't mind me. Anyways, Pyro, no. One of these years, my sister and I would actually like to go to BlizzCon, but getting tickets is a lot harder to do than it sounds. Like, a lot harder to do than it sounds. And I have absolutely no health capacity to do that right now, to be a little bit blunt. So, hey, Super Bear. And I will not be watching BlizzCon, because I'll be right here streaming. Where will you be? Watching BlizzCon, or here watching me? And the funny thing is, I'm actually going to be, I guarantee you, someone mentioned this already, I guarantee you, while we're playing Zelda, because that's what we're going to be playing, it's going to be the continuation of the backseat Zelda Twilight Princess run, I guarantee you I'm going to have tons of people in my chat talking about BlizzCon the whole time we're playing Zelda, which will be amusing. One of these days I need to set myself up with dual monitors again. I haven't had dual monitors in a long time. This isn't actually the thing I was thinking about, is it? A backseat run, Nathrazim, is when one person who has played the game before is the person at the controller or keyboard or whatever playing through it because they've actually played this game before. However, everything they're doing is dictated by the person over here who has never played the game before. It's like backseat driving is where the term comes from. So, she, who has never played the game, is telling me what to do, while I, who have played the game, am actually enacting it. That way, I get the enjoyment of playing the game again, and I get a little bit of a twist on it. She gets the enjoyment of playing through the game, even though she's not good enough at playing games to actually do this. And my viewers get the enjoyment of seeing a backseat run, which I've been told is actually very entertaining. It's actually an idea my friend Gary came up with, and definite props to him for coming up with it. It's a great concept. It's something I've enjoyed doing a lot ever since. Very first backseat run was actually Illusion of Gaia. He was playing, he was the one at the controller, and I was the one telling him what to do. We had a whole series of code words and everything. Super literal mode, engaged. Okay, go right 3 steps, and then do this. Okay, now do this. And then he'd be like, okay, efficiency mode, engaged. What would that do, Eric? Just out of curiosity. I don't know the cheats for this game at all. I had to ask people what the Doom cheat was last game. That's the only reason I knew it. You'll never catch up, Marquis. Never. Oh, it opens up the map. Okay, so I see dead people. Aha! I missed a bundle of crabs. Look, it's Ghostcrawler. That's for, like, the 3 of you who actually get that joke. Actually, no, you go do this. Yeah, screw it, all of you go. I'm sorry, Marquis. I'm not actually sorry. Poor Ghostcrawler. I feel bad for him because I think he's done a lot of genuinely good stuff. Oh, hello. In his time. How do you get here? Oh, you can go through there. Oh, that's clever. Anyways, he's done a lot of genuinely good stuff in his time, and really has, in my opinion, helped the WoW community interaction get a lot better, basically. Oh, hello. Ooh, oh yes, I definitely want a Mask of Death. We're going to put that on Rexar. How do I get here? Oh, that's how I get here. He did, but he got over that at least. Did I send Rexar up there? I did. God dang it. Got down here. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. Azrak. Ghostcrawler's a decent guy, yeah. And I have a lot of respect for the man. Like I said, he's done a lot of good work over the years. And I will admit, he had some problems early on. Some Mead-related problems. Oh, this is the actual one I was thinking of. Okay, I'm sorry. This is actually the one I should have cheated for. Right here. Favorite Zelda game? Twilight Princess, followed very, very closely by Link to the Past. A Zelda game in a sci-fi setting? Yes, but only if I was running it. Because I don't trust anyone else to do it properly, damn it. I'm sorry, that sounds really egotistical. I do think it could be done properly. I just think it would be difficult. Majora's Mask is an excellent game. By the way, those are also my thoughts on virtually every Zelda game ever. Just to be honest about it. Alright, in we go. Other optional, super optional place. This is the actual super optional place I was thinking of. The Outland Arena. It's exactly what it sounds like. We're definitely cheating for this one. This is insanely hard. Usually I spend the better part of an hour just here pushing my way through this inch by inch. Because this stuff's hard. How do I... there they are. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's go ahead and take on the very first... This is what Succubus used to look like. I actually find it a bit of a shame. I like this model better than the model we have in WoW. Am I the only one who thinks that way? I'm just kind of curious. And you can just kind of keep fighting them, by the way. That's kind of how this works. You fight them, and then they level up. And you notice I've got a counter on the upper right there. And each time I fight them, I get a better and better tome. I don't actually need tomes, of course, because the third part of this campaign is actually reasonably easy. So, but normally I spend quite a while here leveling up and really maximizing my characters with these tomes. It takes quite a while, like I said. That also goes to you. Anyways, forgive me for completely mispronouncing your name. Juan Cab, or Juan Cab, I'm not sure which you prefer, but either way, hi. Always nice to see new people in here. Unfortunately, I'm afraid my first answer to you is going to be a relatively unpleasant one, or let's just say negative one. No, I do not play Dota anymore. I stopped playing the Dota games a fairly long time ago, all things considered. I did give Dota 2 and plan on giving Heroes of the Storm a try, but for the most part, MOBA games in general have been so... Well, a lot of the community has not been very, I don't know a good way to put this, acerbic, acidic, unpleasant, that kind of thing. And it just feels like it's been getting worse. Maybe that's just my opinion, maybe that's just my personal experience, but I really don't like playing a game that I just love playing, because I love MOBA games. I've loved MOBA games since, Aeon of Strife, since Mercs and Techs. But after a while, it just gets to the point where I'm just like, ugh, and it bothers me. And it reached the point, I really should use past tense here, where I just kind of put them down and said, nowadays the only time I ever pick up a MOBA is when I'm playing with all people I know. Yeah, League of Legends is probably one of the worst that I've seen personally. It is such a horribly toxic community. And I played Call of Duty multiplayer. Alright, so anyways, that's the Outland Arena. Yay, that was interesting. Let's go finish this up, shall we? Oh, shoot, we encountered demons. Run from the demons, run! we go. Got him. Like I said, I actually really do like MOBA games. Wildkin Claw, Storm Lord. I don't actually remember where I'm supposed to go for these. I know one of them's over here, so let's go over here. Now, if you asked me which is my favorite of the MOBA games I've played, as funny as it probably sounds, the original Dota is actually probably my favorite, all things considered. League of Legends certainly goes out of its way to try and add new heroes constantly to mess up the... I shouldn't say mess up, to change up the balance and the style and whatnot, but the original Dota was really well done and really well taken care of, and the people went out of their way to constantly try to add new things to it. I liked that, you know? Maybe it was just me. I could also be prejudiced in that matter, though, because, as I mentioned, I had good experiences playing with that. So, shrug, as they say. Dota 2. It's like League of Legends. I don't have anything else to add to this, I'm afraid. Oh, shoot, I just encountered a boss. Didn't actually mean to. Everyone do this. There was another one, Heroes of Newerth, I played, thanks to a recommendation from a friend of mine, Third. That's actually pretty good, all things considered. Not the best, but certainly good. Reaper, I am already playing Elder Scrolls Online. Good night, Braven. Have a good one. Guilty pleasure games? Define, Rondo. You're talking about a game I know is bad but still enjoy? Or are you talking about a game that I feel like I shouldn't enjoy but do? Help me out here. No, I am not, AeroK. I am under a strict NDA for Elder Scrolls Online. Pretty much all I could say is very generic things about it, including the fact that I'm in it, and that's basically it. However, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I'm not impressed with ESO, and that's basically all I'm going to say. You know me, guys. You know that I like to go into detail about the whys, but I can't because of the NDA, and I'm not willing to risk that, especially not on my stream. So, sorry, guys, but I'm very disappointed with it, and the way it is right now, I am not picking it up when it goes live. We'll see if it gets better. I know it's beta. I don't want to judge a game too harshly based on beta. But yeah. Come on, get the eye. There we go. Yes, Soggy Waffles. Well, yes and no. Tor's story kept me interested enough to keep playing it, even though I hated the combat and the gameplay and the crafting and the class systems and the balance and the PvP and the instances and the application of certain aspects of the story and the schizophrenic nature of the fact that they had different writing teams doing different sections, and it really showed. And I could keep going, but you get the point. Nevertheless, I did like the stories, I guess is a better way to put that, of Tor significantly enough to keep playing it enough in order to actually, you know, finish it. I've seen all 8 class storylines and all of the planetary storylines and all of the optional planetary storylines, the planetary bonus lines. So, take that for what it's worth. Wait, we're not here yet, are we? We're not at... Okay, so it's funny that you guys keep talking about MOBAs. I was kind of leaning the direction in this way anyways, because the very last mission for this campaign is actually a MOBA. It's actually a really well designed one. Easy, but fun.
On the prowl.
Don't worry. Be happy.
These are perfect, Rexar. Just let me finish this spell. There. The blessing is complete. One last thing, Rexar. I want you to carry our standard into battle. I hereby name you Champion of the Horde.
It is an honor, War Chief. I will carry your standard with pride. Loktar Ogar!
Your efforts may have saved us all, Rexar. The Ogre and Tauren conscripts you've rallied could turn the tide in our favor. Proudmoore's forces have established a stronghold due north of our position. Our scouts report that he's mobilized all of his standing forces for an attack on Durotar.
War Chief, Admiral Proudmoore's forces have begun their advance. They'll be here any moment.
Let them come. They'll find the Horde to be more than they bargained for. Rexar, you've earned the honor of drawing first blood. I'll hold the defenses here, but I want you to lead the attack against Proudmoore's base.
Gladly. All right, you warriors. The hour of victory has arrived. Come, you Tauren. Rise up, you ogres. Today, you stand united with the Horde. Loktar Ogar!
For the Horde.
My quarrel nears.
By the way, Soggy, in response to your question, no. I know this sounds weird and all, but I actually played all of Tor. Both sides, all the classes, all the way through. Yes, I played the game, well, 4 times, because I always played with a friend. I refused to play by myself, so it was always me and one other person. And we always went through and saw each other's class storylines. So, no, I didn't YouTube anything. Whoops. Rexar, come back! I don't understand your question, Reaper. That's funny you say that, Aded. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people thought that. Horde means family. For the Horde. There we go. Perfecto. Is this the MOBA? I don't think this is. Yeah, I played it for quite a while, Soggy. It's one of the reasons why I can say so definitively that I just don't like it all that much, really, when it comes down to it. Yeah, let's get some more X-Men on our way up there. Jaina is not actually fighting us, Reaper. The forces of Kultiras underneath Proudmoore are fighting us. Admiral Proudmoore, Jaina's father. God! Sorry, I had to say it. You know, it's, I actually can't think of his first damn name, but it's Admiral Proudmoore. The guy who is stuck in the past and cannot get past his hatred. Like I said, I do actually have a decent amount of sympathy for him, but that only extends so far. Yeah, yes and no, Panda. Depends on my mood, and depends on which particular generation we're at. I have in the past, and probably will in the future. But lately I've actually fallen behind in the Pokemon games. I'm still going through Black and White 1, and I have not actually picked up Black and White 2 yet. And I obviously don't even own X and Y yet. So, like I said, I'm behind, so I haven't actually gotten into competitive stuff since Platinum. Why are your friends against it, Reaper? Or are they just the kind of people who are like, "Rawr, it sucks," because, you know, we have no reason to say it sucks? I shouldn't say that. There are plenty of legitimate reasons to not be into WoW. There really are. I just don't like people who have no legitimate reasons to be against WoW. Who are just like, "Ah, it sucks." Why? It sucks. Why? It sucks. Super training, from what I understand, is very awesome, and so is the belt item. I don't even remember what it's called. That was changed under the hood, so to speak, in X and Y, that allows you to keep 5 of your IVs when breeding. Between those two changes, I think I'm going to enjoy min-maxing a lot more than I usually do in X and Y. Fear of addiction's a valid reason. Being a cheapskate, I wouldn't call it that, but, you know, money is a problem. Hell, I wouldn't even be playing WoW right now if someone hadn't paid for my sub. Pyro, I think you're killing me with your terrible lies. Another good reason to not get into WoW is to not have anyone to play with. It took me years to get to the point where I was comfortable enough playing the game solo, and I actually kind of do that for the most part now. Whenever Janine's on, for example, I'll definitely play with her, because Janine's awesome, and one of my best friends, and, you know, awesome. But, the simple fact of the matter is, most of the time when I log on, I'm by myself. PAX doesn't even have it subbed anymore. So you kind of get used to the idea after a while. Blow this. Blow... Oh, nope, nope, this is perfect time for this one. I aimed that wrong. Whatever. Give me a cool bore. Get rid of that guy. Give me another one over here. Get another heal going on here. I would like you to go ahead and give me a nuke right down the middle. Perfecto. Hang on, guys. I'm kind of not looking at chat just at the moment, because, well, it should be fairly obvious why. No, Karen! Karen died, guys. I'm sorry, that was in poor taste. My god, this is a lot of guys. Where are you? I know you're there. Oh no, it looks like I actually killed all the healers. Swoot! Okay, let's just focus on healing then. Wow. Okay, you know what? Come on out, guys. Come on. Idiots. Another thing I like that they did with this and a lot of the Frozen stuff, Frozen Throne stuff, is they just started playing with the idea of random, non-hero units just having random abilities from across the entire game. You know, either from other hero units for NPCs or mercenary units or whatever. It really added a lot of variety for what they could do, and, ironically enough, basically paved the way for what would become Dota. I know Dota existed in regular Warcraft 3, but it really became a massive thing in Frozen Throne because of all the under-the-hood changes they made to really flesh out the engine and what you could do with the characters and the heroes and blah 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 blah. Long story short, it was awesome. Okay, now I'm looking at the chat again. So, Marquez, no, I'm going to be stopping pretty much after this mission because then we're going to be loading Part 3. And I intend to stop and finish up Part 3 tomorrow. So, yeah. The end, I suppose. Oh, god dang it, they got the second round. Okay, back up, back up. Time to back up a bit. They got their second wave going. God damn. You know what? You're right, guys. I think I've proven I could win this battle. Yes, I've played Ace Attorney. Oh, they're all dead. Keep going. This is actually a pretty rough battle, all things considered. If it's not obvious based on how that was going. By the way, I agree. I don't know what you guys have been talking about while I was concentrating on that, but Gym Leader should have a minimum of 6 Pokemon, in my opinion. With the possible exception of the first Gym Leader. Possible exception. And the only reason I say that is because they tend to give you the first Gym Leader really early on. Like, really early on.
I want alone.
Oh, I guess we can return now. Return.
Our paths converge. Sweet.
The Witcher games?
Das Dingo.
Timer just got reset, guys.
Flush them out. I feel you, man.
I think that was an innocent timer reset, too. Is there nothing I can teleport to? Oh, there it was. Found it. So anyways, Witcher games, not my thing. I'm just going to summarize that because you obviously don't know
my strength.
the long history I have with the Witcher games. It's kind of become a joke amongst my stream at this point because of how often... Yeah, anyways. What, the current timer, Jopa? Or the fact that there is a timer? Guys?
My quarry nears.
Yeah, I'm on. There we go. But then people wouldn't accidentally reset the timer like they just did. So yeah, we haven't actually finished off the Kulturas forces yet. They're still going to be bastards.
Thrumkar, War Chief. We've routed the human forces on the mainland.
I even own Witcher.
It appears that Admiral Proudmoore and his marines have pulled back to the safety of Theramore Isle.
I wish this was the end of it, Rexar. But so long as Admiral Proudmoore lives, he'll never stop hounding us. We must press our attack and lay siege to Theramore itself. I only pray that Jaina is safe. She had nothing to do with her father's agenda, but unfortunately, invading her citadel is the only option we have left.
And then, part 3. We win. Blaze of Glory. This is a much shorter thing, but I'm not going to do this tonight. I'm going to do this tomorrow. In fact, we're going to actually skip that. We lost. Alright, so tomorrow when I wake up, I'll throw out a Twitter feed as soon as I wake up. Anybody who doesn't know my Twitter, just look up Arshian Guy. It's exactly spelled how it's always spelled. And as soon as that's up, I'll go ahead and be like, yo, I'm going to wake up, get some breakfast, clean myself up a bit, and then start streaming again. So, see you guys tomorrow.